Welcome once again here to Bethel University. It's Media Day. My name is Paul Condry. I'm the president of the Regional Radio Sports Network. Glad that you can hop along with us here today as we're going to move our attention to cross country here today at Bethel. Glad to be joined here by Ryan Sommers, who's been here on the Mishawaka campus almost as long as I have. It's kind of a scary thought. You and I don't butt heads because this is, we've never broadcast cross-country, and it's a unique situation. But I will tell you, I have a really good cross-country background. You may or may not know that, looking at this offensive lineman's type body, because I had a chance to grow up watching arguably one of the greatest cross-country runners run during my time in Holborn, Indiana. I had a chance to watch Rudy Chapa and Kerry Pinkowski, and obviously you know those names. Two guys that revolutionized your sport.
They did.
As a matter of fact, if I recall, those two guys crossed the finish line hand in hand and won the IHSAA state tournament championship. Rudy, of course, went on to be part of the Olympic development, and then, of course, went to be an executive at Nike. So had a chance to get to know those guys. I've had those guys on my radio shows in years past. So awesome. When you think back on that sport, in your sport, and I'm going to just date myself at age 66, so I grew up in the 70s, but I just want you to tell me what you can about how your sport has developed in the course of my lifetime, and where are we at now here at the NAI collegiate level?
Wow, that's a good question. And it's funny you bring up Rudy Chapa because I actually remember hearing stories that people used to stand on top of buses to watch him run.
Right.
He was that good, so that's awesome. He's got quite a history. I'll tell you, I think cross country's come a long way. It seems like there's been a period probably about 10, 15 years ago when it started to hurt a little bit because soccer became a bigger sport,
sure, especially
in the high school level. So I think it took a little bit of hit, but I think it's making a comeback. I think a lot of people like it because there's a unique, I don't know, how do you put it? There's a unique compilation on a team. There's a bonding that happens because we're all doing what everybody else does for punishment,
sure,
right? So it's I think it's come a long way, and it's been really good to watch. The level of competition at the NAIA level is amazing to see how the coaches have worked together to get the best teams at the national meet. Used to, it would be spread out. You'd have some people up front, and then you'd have a little bit in the middle, and then it'd straggle out the back. Now it's so deep, the top group is just like 60 meters long, and it's just packed full of people. It's that close. So it's a really intense sport at this point, I think.
All right, a very poignant question. At the NAIA level, is men's cross country ahead of women's cross country, or vice versa? Are they on an even plane?
Oh, I'd say they're even. Both groups are crazy good right now. It's amazing. The competition level is phenomenal. When you go to those meets and I went last year again and watched, it's intense. It's a battle all the way through. There may be one or two people that are way out, that take a good lead.
Sure.
But honestly, from the most part, it's packed. I mean, you're crossing the line. You got 5 people crossing the line in like 2 seconds each time, and that's pretty much through the whole race.
Let's talk about the tactical aspect of running. When you have a team, a lot of people just think you're just going to go out there and run, but there's a lot of tactics. I've talked to cross-country and track coaches over the years, and there's some serious roster management going on and the way you attack the course depending upon the course. Can you speak to that, Ryan, about some of the things that kind of go flying under the radar from your perspective? And we haven't even talked base about the recruiting aspect of it, right?
Right. Well, as far as tactics, it sometimes depends on the team and how they run. Some coaches like to go out fast, and people hold on, and you just see how long you can hold on. You can hold on longer than others, and you're going to finish higher. Others will come more from the back. They'll go out a little bit more controlled and work their way up through a race. And sometimes the course will determine that based on if it gets narrow in places or different things like that. It will determine how you want to run. If it's hilly, how that affects it. If the heat affects it, wind, things like that. So all those different factors you come into play when you go to race and where you're at in the season, actually. Will determine that. Plus, if you're getting ready, if like we've done it where courses we know if we're going to run either at NAI Nationals or NCCA Nationals. If we know that course, then we'll set our schedule to prepare us for that. And so that you're ready when you get to that course. If it's hilly, like a couple years ago, we were down in Missouri, pretty hilly course. So we ran on some courses that got us up and over hills quite a bit. So
I've been here covering a lot of the athletes and teams throughout the course of my career here, and people get excited. Hey, listen, we qualified for the NCCAA tournament, or we qualified, or we won enough matches to get into the NEI National Tournament Series. Can you break down the landscape for Bethel University women's and men's soccer on the qualifications to get into the two respective tournaments and bodies that you guys are involved with, whether it be the NAIA or the NCCAA?
Yes.
What do you guys have to do to qualify both individually and as a team?
Okay, that's a good question. For the NAIA, the qualification is all based off your conference or league meet. So we have to, if for our conference with the number of teams we have to win our conference to get an automatic bid. And then the large bids are based on the rankings, the national rankings then.
Okay.
So that's how that is determined. Individually, you have to be in the top 4 individuals. It gets complicated. Top 4 individuals outside of the teams that qualify from your league or conference for our league. For Christian Nationals, they have time standards that we have to hit either individually or as a team. And we've been able to do that the last several years and be able to participate there. So that one's probably a little bit more lenient, but you still have to qualify.
We have 2 student athletes we're going to get here to a moment in case you're just joining us. Avery Richardson, here's to my left, a product of Penn High School. We'll be visiting with him. He's part of the men's cross country. And also on the other side is Cahall. We'll get to talk with her momentarily. But when you look outside of the 2 student athletes we have here today, Ryan, I want you to talk about the makeup of both the men's and women's teams. Who are you expecting to have good years for your group?
All of them. Technically, that's what I want. What we're lucky enough to have especially on the we'll go to the women's side first. We got a good, solid group. We have with Brett. We actually have 2 seniors. We have a good group of juniors, and then a couple of sophomores and a good group of freshmen. So, what's nice is we have it's a nice array of classes, and we should mesh really well. I think we try to run as groups, and I think we'll be able to group up really well with the people that we have. We have a couple. Funny thing is, I can just say a couple names because we have 2 Emmas, 2 Hannahs, 2 Annas. So it really makes it easier for me as a coach because I don't have to remember everybody's name. So, but I think it's going to be really good how we can run as a group and fight, and that's part of cross country. You can either run individually, have people out front, or you can group up and score better that way. And we tend to do better by scoring as a group.
All right, let's start on the gals side. We're going to bring in Brett Cahall, a product of Madison, Indiana, down along the river, as they say. Glad to have her here. She was also involved in cross country in high school, swimming and track. She was a cross country semi-state during her time at high school. So, Brett, let me start with you. Growing up down along the river, as they say, in my lingo, as I publish our Indiana Football Digest, I've been down there to Madison Consolidated High School, as well as all the teams and schools down along the river. You couldn't be further than it is for Avery. Avery grew up right here at Penn High School, right here in Mishawaka, Indiana. So let's talk about making that 5-hour drive. What was the allure to making the 5-hour drive to Bethel to be a part of the program?
Yeah, so I came up and visited, I think it was November, my senior year of high school. I met with Coach and a few of the teammates, and a lot of the girls is what made me come here. They were so welcoming when I came and visited, gave me a tour, showed me everything. I got like the team atmosphere vibe from them and all that. So that was something that really pulled me here.
When you look at the success that you had as a high school athlete in the sports that you did, whether it be a regional qualifier in the 4x8 as in the 1600 individually, and you think about all the success that you had, one thing about being a freshman, everybody else has those same type of successes, and now you've got to find your own way. Someone's going to rise or someone's going to fail in the college situation because everybody is a pretty good athlete coming in here. So talk about the journey for you of coming in as a freshman and where are you at now as your senior season?
Yeah, so actually my freshman year I had a few complications with my iron level. So that was a big setback. It happened towards the end of the year. So I was doing pretty good, felt pretty good going into the first couple meets that we had my freshman year. And then it kind of went downhill from there. So track season, we got a little better. We were still having some iron troubles. But after getting that under control, I've been feeling pretty good. This summer, I actually felt the best that I have all the past summers. So I'm really excited to see what we have for the season.
And you're going to graduate a year and a half early.
Yes.
And so you want to go into business. So you've been on the fast track. Will you continue to run and be in those type of competitive situations once you leave Bethel?
I plan on it. I really want to run a marathon at some point in my life. And then I want to do like a triathlon because I like swimming and biking.
Well, Ryan's nodding his head right now, and obviously you feel pretty good about her compete level to be able to do that if that's something that she decides to do. So talk about her leadership and what she is all about with this group.
Brett's a good example of many of the girls we have on our team. They buy into what we talk about. They really encourage each other. They lift each other up. They push each other during races. Like I said, when we run as groups, we talk about not leaving the old Top Gun thing. You never leave your wingman. So they understand about going out, and Brett has done great with that. She's always been one that pushes herself, pushes her teammates, encourages them, and she's improved. That's what's awesome. Well, one of the things we value here is continuing to develop people, not only so they can run while they're here, but also run afterwards. And she's done great at just continuing to develop, buying into what we talk about, and moving forward.
Brett, one of the things that you mentioned to me earlier that you like to read and you like to watch television. Your favorite book you've read and your favorite TV show of all time. Do you have one that you can share with us?
So I love Where the Crawdads Sing, the book, and then my favorite TV show would probably be Stranger Things.
Okay. Is there any particular reason of those two that kind of trip your trigger, as they say?
Well, I actually watched Stranger Things with my two roommates last year. That was like our kind of, I guess you could call like nightly thing. We would watch an episode every night, so that was awesome, and I loved it.
All right, so tell me about the team from your perspective. You've seen it come in. I know that Ryan would not have asked anyone else to come here if he didn't have confidence, number one, in your ability to communicate, and number two, he must like your leadership qualities. So having said it, he's nodding his head. So as the leader of this group, how do you perceive the women's cross-country team here at Bethel?
Yeah, so we've only, with the incoming freshmen, we've been here for about 2 days, and we already see like a big connection between all of us. We try and make like our relationships outside of cross country bigger, so then that helps us when we compete competitively for cross country and races.
All right, now switch over to the men's side. Avery Richardson, who grew up here locally and went to Penn High School. Ironically, what's unique about Avery is that he was primarily a soccer player. And Avery, from your perspective, we were talking prior to our interview here today that you and Coach Sommers and the family, he kind of recruited you to come from soccer to do some cross country, but your families are commingled together as friends. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we went to Granger Community Church, and basically my mom was just really trying to get me to go to school anywhere. Like I really wasn't planning on it. Like I was just planning on going straight into work somewhere, doing something. I didn't have a real plan. And my mom was just like talking to people and just always saying like, you have to go to school, you have to go to school. And one day at church, we would occasionally talk to them like here and there. And Coach Sommers, he came up and he said, I heard you ran in high school. And I was like, yeah, 1 year. And he was like, well, if you want to run, you can come run at Bethel. And I was like, well, this is the only opportunity that's really presenting itself, so I might as well take it.
By the process of elimination,
yeah,
right?
There we go, yeah. And so after that, I kind of just went with that, and I've been extremely grateful for that opportunity. So, yeah.
So transitioning from soccer, fast start, run, fast stop. I mean, there's all kinds of unique dynamics.
Right.
Whereas cross country, I mean, it's like, let's get on down the road, right?
Straight ahead.
So talk to me about using a different set of muscles, different set of mindset, as well as not really you're in your infancy stages, unlike we talked with Brett about. She's been running for a long time. So talk about what you've learned under Coach Sommers thus far.
I think that when I played soccer, I was one of the players that was probably more skilled in the running area. So I think we all realized that, and I think eventually, like, so I ran track, and I really enjoyed it. And I just have always enjoyed running in itself. But a lot of my best friends played soccer, and so I kind of tagged along, But I think where I really belong, or where I've always belonged, was running. And, yeah, coming here and just going through all of that development has been, like, huge in my life. Not for just, like, my physical life, but, like, my spiritual life, like, everything else. It's extremely enhanced everything that I've been doing in my life. And Coach Sommers has been, like, the biggest advocate for that. And it's been amazing.
You mentioned to me earlier that your all-time favorite athlete is one of my all-time favorite athletes in Life Granville. Life Granville may have one of the most unique stories of all time. I remember the men's basketball team hurt a lot, transferred in, all kinds of adversity. I mean, he was ill one time to the point where he wasn't sure he was going to even live. Yeah. And what happens in the national championship game last year for men's basketball, he comes up with a double-double and helps his team win the national championship. Great young man, a man of great faith. So people who know Life Granville understand the dynamics of what a great influence he had, not only on the team but also here on this campus. So talk to me about where you were at from a spiritual standpoint to be a kind of like a Life Granville here on this campus.
Yeah, Life is my guy, first of all. Like, we lived together at the start of the summer, and he's, like, one of my best friends. But, yeah, he's a huge example of what it's like to be a spiritual leader on this campus. I mean, we were RAs together last year, and every single time I had an issue or something, like, I would go talk to him and just be like, Life, like, what do I do, man? And he just, like, he's so wise, and he taught me that one of the best things to do is just sit down and talk to somebody. Like, just sit down and talk to him and just, figure out what's going on, and just being able to be there for somebody and to love them and just, care for them where they're at. And I think that's helped me, like, with my friends, with strangers that I don't know, just being able to talk to them without having really any filter and just being able to, talk things out and figure things out right then and there. It's been great, and, like, I love Life. He's awesome.
All right, so let's talk about the makeup of the men's cross country team. Who else besides yourself is going to have a great year for you guys?
All of us. Like Coach said, I mean, like, I think all of us have been extremely focused on training this summer. And, I mean, there's 3 seniors, and, right? There's 3 seniors, yeah. Abraham and Josiah, we've all been through the thick and the thin. It's been tough, but it's been great. And I think all of us have been developing. And just as a team, I think we're going to have a really great season.
Okay, one of the things you mentioned before the broadcast, we talked about some of your other interests, and you wrote down food.
I love food.
All right, so as a foodie, what's your favorite? What's your go-to here in Mishawaka?
My go-to is pizza.
You have a favorite spot here in town?
I really like Rocco's. You know Rocco's?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Rocco's is great. You can never go wrong with Bruno's or Barnaby's.
Barnaby's my go-to.
Yeah, Barnaby's is amazing. And then, like, probably the best spot, I mean, there's so many in this area, but most nostalgic is Starlight Pizza.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, my mom.
Sweet sauce there.
Oh, man. Gotta love it.
Good stuff in that. All right, Ryan Sommers, I tell you, with kids like this on your team, I should say young people like this on your team, it keeps you young. And I tell you what, anybody who's been doing this a long time, you have to love what you're doing. And we've gone through a lot of stuff, I know, in your 17 years, from athletic changes to the school changing. We've gone through COVID, so there's been a wide variety of things. And the spiritual landscape of America today is a lot different than when you started. So as you look at the big picture from where you're at as a coach, as a mentor, and then that father figure, both for men and women, tell us where you're at.
Well, I'm glad you said father figure because they call me grandpa now. And
I get that part.
But pardon me, I say what we try to do is I love coaching. I think you have to enjoy what you do and know why you do it. And I tell the kids that all the time as they go into life. That's what they have to do. And for me, I love watching them grow and as people. And so we just try to invest in their life. My wife and I and our kids are all involved. And what we want to do is help them to just not only grow as athletes but as people. And so we do everything we do. It gears towards that. Pardon me. So I'm excited. I love this team. I love the makeup. Each year the new people that come in, how God works through all of that. It's just a great opportunity. I get to play all day, and it's
I
fun.
know the feeling.
It's a blast, and they're so good to watch people grow, and I'm so proud of them.
You should be. Once again, a special thanks to Ryan Sommers. What a special job he's done here on the campus of Bethel University of Mishawaka. Special thanks to Avery, Richardson, and Brett Cahall. We want to wish them best of luck as they are going to wrap up their careers here, and certainly wish Brett over there best of luck as she goes into business on her own after, just to be on the fast track to get through college a year and a half before everybody else. That says volumes for her character. So once again, thanks for joining us here from Bethel University in Mishawaka. I'm Paul Condry on the Regional Radio Sports Network.